When we found out that my wife Emily's twin pregnancy had ended, we not only had to deal with the emotional fallout, we had to deal with the physical fallout as well. And that's what this video is about. Don't worry, there's nothing graphic or anything like that. It just talks about our experience of facing this unfortunate reality. I also want to take a minute here to just say that I am in absolute awe of Emily. Through everything that we have been through over the last 2.5 years in our struggles of trying to have a child, she has just shown time and time again, and this time was no exception, that she has incredible strength, incredible courage, and incredible heart. She also has, as you'll soon find out, an interesting way of reacting to anesthesia. After we'd gotten the news that we had lost the twins, the specialist sent us over to Emily's OB and then on to the surgeon who would be performing the procedure. They all walked us through what the next 48 hours were going to look like. It's not something that I typically notice, but in both Emily's OB's office and in the surgeon's office, I noticed the family pictures, the pictures of the kids and the grandkids. I don't know, it was just kind of strange because it's not something that usually bumps me one way or the other, and yet now it was like something that I couldn't look away from. There was just this pain inside of me. Finally, Emily and I got to go home. That's kind of where things hit home even more, because it's like when we left this morning, Emily was pregnant and everything was fine, and now we're coming back to this completely different world. In a lot of ways, it felt familiar just because of we had gone through the same thing with the third loss. All we really knew to do was what we had done before. Back then, we had decided to start watching The West Wing. It's one of our favorite TV series. We've seen it a million times, but we had started watching it after the third pregnancy loss because it was very familiar and soothing and a good distraction, and we figured, why not do it again? So we turned on Netflix and started season 1, episode 1. Over the next couple of days, that's what we did. We were on the couch watching The West Wing. Emily's parents came into town, and that was a really big help to have that support. We went to the hospital. We get off the elevator, and it turns out the floor that Emily is on is the Women's Health Services floor. We got taken back into the pre-op room, and they started getting Emily ready and hooking her up to the IV and all that sort of thing. And then we were just kind of left, the four of us, Emily and me and her parents, and we sat there in silence, and we sat there in tears. And we tried to change the subject at different times, and throughout it all, I kept looking over at Emily and just thinking, this is not how it was supposed to be. We were supposed to be here. We were supposed to be here on this floor, and Emily was supposed to be in a gown, but all of that was supposed to be happening because she was going to be giving birth, not because another pregnancy had ended. They came to take her into surgery, and as I was saying goodbye to her, I just told her that the boys, the twins, were watching over her. I know that may sound crazy or cheesy or whatever, but I don't know. That's just something that I like to think of. I like to think that the twins, I like to think that all 5 of our lost children are up there and watching over us. The procedure didn't take very long. It was so quick, in fact, that Emily's parents and I had run down to the cafeteria to get something to eat, and the doctor had come out to let us know how things had gone, and we weren't back yet. When we did get back to the waiting room a few minutes later, the doctor came out and told us that everything had gone perfectly. A little while later, they came out and got me. I'm sure everybody reacts differently to anesthesia. Emily tends to get very appreciative. When they brought me back into the recovery room, Emily was holding hands with one of the nurses and kind of gazing into her eyes and just going on and on about how grateful she was for the work that the nurses do. For me, at least, it was a nice moment of comic relief. I don't know what it was like for all the nurses back there. Thankfully, the meds eventually started to wear off and Emily came to. They checked her a couple more times and finally she was discharged. It had been a long emotional day. It had been a long emotional week, and it was nice to get to go home. Unfortunately, we didn't get to stay there for very long. After we ate dinner, we were right back at the hospital in the emergency room.